What do you mean?
A full team of the same survivors, quick swapping the flashlights. I don't know, man. It sounds a lot like a bully squad. Let's get into the mix, boys. So we are doing this post-commentary style. Obviously, we don't have a working headset as of yet, so we can't really record live, but we will record afterwards. Now, I have been doing some testing with this gun that we have on the screen here to see how bad it could be. And for some reason, I ended up kind of mastering it, which is really interesting, I would say. I think my shots were really, really good with this gun, so despite not having what is considered an iron sights, per se, which is really interesting. I didn't see that coming. But we ran brutal strength this time around. I was trying to figure out what would be really good for a chase, and I'm just gonna leave this all uncut so you guys can kind of see the mistakes I make, and you know what the outcomes are. Now we don't want to reveal too much. We're just gonna make sure we zone them there. They fly right into my sight, and we get a free hit there. That's solid for me. Now, obviously here we want to either get a pallet or something, and this is why we ran brutal strength, is to try to help out with chase potential. And the scratch marks kind of threw me off here, because they all, like, the scratch marks trailed into different directions, which was really weird. And that loot lost me a lot of distance, especially because we are playing a ranged killer that doesn't move at 115%, but 110%, so we are quite slow. And I also heard them on the generator above me, so I wanted to go up there, try to intercept that in the meantime, and thankfully we had corrupt, so they would stay around this general area. Now obviously due to, you know, music that they hear, you know, terror radius ideal. And here is a spot that really sucks, like for trying to aim, because that desk and the chair and all that, whatever that is, the table, like it just completely blocks. It completely blocks the shot. Like the hitbox is too big, so and we went for the quick scope there, or I guess quick iron. I guess because it's not really the scope. But yeah, overall really bad on my part. Now we're not really gonna fire there because you know, survivor movement, and also because they're already injured. I want to go for the injured person and try to get the most amount of value. And we have to be very patient here because we are losing a gen, which isn't too bad. We do have deadlock. But we do have to get it down as soon as possible here. Now this area once again can be pretty problematic, I would say, but we did end up getting the shot, but there is the shelf kind of breaks the chain. But we at least put them in deep wound just to apply a little bit of slowdown if they end up leaving the area and we're not able to catch up. And now the thing is, I was trying to decide between running Unrelenting and running it with Brutal Strength. And Brutal Strength does have a bit of value, and Unrelenting also could provide a bit of value. Now this area is also very difficult to get a shot in, if you will, because it has a lot of cover. So with this area, we just have to get the pallet out, but we don't really want to deal with the blind just yet because it could be Champion of Light, and you don't really need hindered. And I was being very stubborn. Been trying to get the shot, and that honestly does make me lose a ton of time. But the reason that that brutal strength is brutal strength in general is quite useful, especially for Deathslinger, because pallets can be one of the biggest obstacles, and having that extra speed can allow you to be able to reach that shot. Now, this area also has this whole wall that is pretty good for defense, so we are able to get the angle, and we were able to get the quick down. Well, I wouldn't say quick, but we were able to get the down. But my scourge hooks are just too far away, and we lost about a couple of gens for that. So this is where the match really begins. You know what I'm saying? Because we did mess up a lot in this match, but you got to keep in mind that the game isn't over yet. You know what I'm saying? The game is not over yet. Now, they did the gen near me, making Deadlock activate twice. So we got two gens that got blocked, which is not ideal. Now, gen speeds admittedly are very fast, but we also have to keep in mind, we're already down to 1, but we also have to keep in mind our chase was way too long anyway. We got a great shot there. We got a great hit. That was awesome on my part. And then she did end up getting stuck, so we used that to down them. And then we're going to go ahead and face the lockers so we don't end up getting blinded. And we try to really shove our faces in there just to make sure that we're looking inside the map, just to make sure This one's waving, saying come here for some reason. I don't really care about her. The gen that right next to me is the one that has the most progress. And we want to try to get a couple of downs and apply some more pressure within this area. Because remember that survivors are going to get cocky. They're going to lose their minds. So we have to try to use this now. We're just trying to wait it out, trying to wait for that endurance. This one is really struggling. But obviously we want to actually keep them held there, slap the other, and then while they're stuck, we down this one. Fantastic play on my part. I was able to get a really good amount of pressure from that. Because we were able to get a hit in, we were able to get the down on the other one because we were able to wait out the endurance without them losing any distance. And then we obviously have to then... They were really trying to brute force that save, but thankfully we walked right past them, you know what I'm saying, which is really good for me. And then if they want to go ahead and just drop that pallet for me, that is great for me. We're not going to actually blind. We want to actually push them that way for them to go for the save. But I missed the shot because I wasn't being patient, and that's my fault. I should have been a little bit more patient because the play, my knowledge was all there. Now we're just waiting because we know that they're going to have endurance. So we wait a couple of seconds, and then what we're going to try to do is actually move closer so you can hit somebody else in the process. This is all just, using what you can. You know what I'm saying? We used the chain to give us distance that we need, so we can try to cut off the ability to use that endurance and fly off. They're once again going for a blind. You already knew that was coming. We can't really reach any pain res hooks just yet, so we'll have to just use them later. And we're gonna have to make sure we kick this so that it continues to regress. And then they're obviously going to try to attempt to go for some kind of because you gotta keep in mind, survivors are gonna get cocky, they're gonna disrespect like how they're doing right now, losing their minds, teabagging, tapping the gen in your face. Like they're gonna do everything they can to try to BM. You gotta stay focused. They're gonna click, or like shine the light in the sky, like they're gonna lose their minds. But you gotta stay focused. Now the thing is that I was just trying to be fast because I knew that the gen was gonna be being touched, so I had to be kind of quick. Now, because they're busy teabagging, losing their minds, we use that. We knock them down. Now we have eyesight on the gen with the most progress, and then we can try to make our way towards the pain res hook. Now, I had chose the one over here that I was going to attempt to go for, because they're all injured, right? So I would assume that if they were to try to body block, I will still be able to get the down. There they go, shining the light again, trying to body block. They fail, and then that's exactly the kind of pressure we need. And then I did a little spin because I thought they might run behind me to try to, because sometimes they do that. They'll try to run behind you to get the save for the extra disrespect, you know what I'm saying? So they're trying to get close. They're trying to lose their minds. You just aim to zone them and then get the shot anyway, as we always do. Get the hit. They're going to immediately fly. We see that one lurking in the background. We don't care about them because if they go for some kind of save, we just get the down. And then we can just go ahead and get the hook for the pain res because we need to drop this gen down depending on who's on it. We've got to drop that gen down again so we can buy more time. And then we can go ahead and focus on somebody else who's injured. He doesn't go for that. We're actually got a really good side of the pallet there. We were able to get the knockdown. And then what we can do is actually try to attempt to get a third pain res just to knock down the gen even further. If we can reach it, which is obviously what we're going for. They try to take hits, which is great for me. I really could care less. We're going to look up in the sky just in case they have a flashbang. And then we just put them right on there for another hook there. Now, obviously didn't proc pain res, but that's all right. We're just doing everything we can here to apply pressure. Because just keep them all injured. Keep them all needing to run and heal and do whatever they need to do. Just so we can slow the game down as much as possible. They do vault that's fine. They're in an area with basically a dead zone. But I figure I need to go back for the gen above me because I know that there's always going to be one clown trying to get on the gen. This one tries to greet it. We knock her down as well. Perfect for me. Nobody can save because they're all across the map. So if we find another pain res, we can slap them on there, which is actually one down the hall. They blew up the gen over there, so we're going to actually make it explode for the third time. With this pain res stack, and then we're able to knock it right down and get one out of the game. Brutal strength to break this down. Now, in some situations, you can get value out of unrelenting, or you can get value out of brutal strength, and I would say that either perk is wonderful on Deathslinger. Brutal strength applies to more things, but unrelenting does give you that option to you break the chain without having much of a cooldown. Because keep in mind that you don't always want to get stunned and apply deep wound, because sometimes they already have deep wound, or It's just not, you know, best to get them in deep wound, safe, or, you know, maybe they have made for this or something, right? So Unrelenting does help you eliminate that problem. On the other hand, Brutal Strength does help out with breaking stuff, which you need to just do quicker on Deathslinger. Anything that speeds up Deathslinger in any way will help you out a lot. He already does move quite slow, and there's not a lot of options to speed him up unless you run Rapid Brutality. And obviously, you know, we are just patrolling the gens, because they're going to be in an area that more than likely isn't by the gen, but because they're all healing, they're not on the gens. So because of that, we're just going to make sure we patrol, make sure we check on the gens, make sure they're going down, they're sparking, whatever. And then we can find them, which are all in this area. All three of them are here, so we can just easily get a shot on any one of them. We just get the hit there. He does fly into the locker to try to bait me to pull them out with that animation to probably get the save from them. Now we just try to zone them here so we can buy distance for ourselves, get another free hit. The more people that are injured, the easier it is. That one's going to fly off, while this one is going to try to go for the pickup. So all we have to do is pretty much just kind of stay within this range. Now, I know that they're not going to expect me to go for a pickup here, which is, we just want to make sure we keep an eye out just to kind of get a general idea where they possibly could have gone. That's why we want to make sure we just take a quick look in case. But you're going to notice here in a second that we are close enough to the wall, and they all fly out of the locker to try to double blind and still fail. And then we also are able to get them out of the game as well. Now, I consider this to be definitely a masterclass in dealing with bullet squads, because now here we are again, getting another knockdown with our just inevitable skill with Deathslinger that we've built up all you know, up to this time. Now, unfortunately, due to Midwich, you know, being Midwich, it is quite easy to just kind of hold W and go around the halls, which is exactly what they do. And here is I'm going to leave this part in because you're going to see this, what I try to do here, because I figure they're going to rotate all the way around to get the pickup on their teammate. And we do actually end up seeing them down the hall here, but we weren't able to get enough distance because we're way too far down the hall. But I did attempt a shot just in case it maybe they were close enough, but just judging by how easy it is for survivors to just flick out of the way of things, it wasn't really that easy to do so. Now I'll cut forward just so we can cut out some of the following, because you know we are Deathslingers, so we're moving at 110 trying to catch them here. We actually did get the shot here, which is really solid on my part. And we get the hit, but unfortunately that isn't a down. Now if I was running Eerie Coin, this would have been a different story, which I consider Eerie Coin to be one of my favorite add-ons. But they do cut. Well, they did have the locker and the generator. We get the pickup there. We do get the knockdown on her. Yeah, she just goes down. This one's over here, but there is a COD pallet there, so we're gonna have to break that, unfortunately. Now once again, this is as much as I love this map, it's just tricky because of just how much they can just kind of run in a straight line and you just can't reach. Like, it's just not a lot you can do. And they're not even like going into the classrooms where like it would be a little bit easier to actually just get the hit in with my gun. It's just holding forward and then they just cut in to like a room or something. Now what I had assumed was they would want to rotate from above maybe and go for there, so I was like, let me try to break down these walls and then try to see if I can follow it that way. But we were not really able to do that, which now I'll cut forward. Okay, so after following them around for a while, and because, you know, we're playing a slow killer, I figured I hear the gen, they're more than likely outside of here, we're gonna go ahead and just knock them down here. You know, I mean, they tried, they certainly tried, you know, they thought, oh, there's one gen, he's following me, just go do the gen. Yeah, doesn't work that way. And then we see her, which was great prediction on my part. I had assumed that would be the case. Now we just kind of have to follow them. Hopefully they'll go for anything. I did get the shot there, which was great on my part. And then we just quickly tell them no, 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 knock them down, hit them with the nose even harder, and get them out of the game. So honestly, one of the best ways I'm able to showcase just my Deathslinger, man. I honestly think I've really took the time out and really like learned this guy, especially with the Iron Maiden skin coming out. You're definitely gonna see that on the channel because I really want to have that skin, man. It looks really, really cool. The music is fantastic, and as overall, I figure I've been really getting good at Deathslinger, and I want to make sure I can bring that content out because I figure there's not a lot of Deathslinger on YouTube for some reason. I don't know why. I feel like we never see it. I mean, maybe like streams people probably have, but I just don't see Deathslinger for more than like a single video every couple of months. So I want to try to bring out the Deathslinger content for you guys. So this is definitely up there. Now, what I will do is I'll probably throw in one more game for you guys. So you guys can enjoy a little bit more of my Deathslinger games. You know, hopefully you guys are enjoying it, and you can also kind of take a look at the gun from the Rift, because I think people, especially Deathslinger mains, probably consider this gun really horrible because of its lack of iron sights. But I've honestly feel like I've mastered this weapon in terms of like this particular cosmetic, I should say. And as you can see, that's the build for you guys. Very sweaty. And let's move on to the next one. So here we are on a map I absolutely despise. Any swamp map I absolutely despise. And it is what it is. You know, you can only have your favorite maps for so long before behavior has to step in. So it's understandable. That's okay. Because we're here and we have Unrelenting in this gameplay. So you guys can kind of get a little bit of both. So I can try to figure out which honestly provides more value. Now, usually what I like to do in my lobbies is I like to let out that warning shot, you know what I'm saying? So all of them get scared, the birds fly, you know, and stuff like that. So they're like, oh, snap, and like, we're going against that guy, you know? And it tends to give them a little bit of fear factor, you know what I'm saying? So, once again, one reason why I don't like this map, we have a really, just a really annoying way to rotate around the boat, which obviously I can't really gain a lot of distance, unfortunately. Now, we finally have the opportunity to get a shot in, so that's when we take it, we get the hit. We try to push them toward that way, and then the beauty of Deathslinger, a lot of the time they'll fly into a wall or something with their momentum. We do go for a quick shot there just to see if we can go for it. You know, a lot of the time you have to be very, very ambitious. Now, I was able to get the pre-shot there. I don't know if to call that a pre-aim or whatever have you, but it's a prediction for sure. I figured out would be the rotation they would go for, and then we attempt to at least go for the pain res. Now, hopefully, you know, at the time I was hoping that, you know, pain res would activate before the gen would fly, which I think we were at least able to do that to buy us like at least extra time, so that we're at least able to keep the game going. Now, this gen looks like it has a lot of progress, so thankfully we're able to kick it and allow ourselves to be able to at least start the next chase. Hopefully, you know. Now here's a really fun part, because I just kept aiming and she continued to just kind of keep spinning around and losing her mind and losing distance, and I just continued to do that because I didn't even need to shoot when she kept getting herself stuck on the walls. And then that's when we take the opportunity to try to get another pain res stack used as well. Now, Unrelenting on the surface, I also look up in the sky just in case they have a flashbang, but Unrelenting on the surface may seem pretty useless. You're thinking, oh, like, how are you going to get value if you just, like, hit people? But with Deathslinger, you do have, as I've said in another portion of the video, and right here, Unrelenting value. We attempted to go for a lunge, and then we were able to still get the swing anyway. Now, we also are noticing gen speeds at full play here, because there's at least 2 gens that are at least halfway done, and we barely got in here. Which is absolutely insane. And then we also even used our pain res. I did go for the shot, but they were just a little bit faster. I think they still had the VT active, so that did kind of speed them up a lot quicker. But now they were standing there, so we actually get the quick shot there. We got the sharpshooter active. Now, obviously, I would really want to go for more Eerie coin plays. I absolutely love Eerie coin because I always go for those shots that are pretty far away. And honestly, it's just as good as reload add-ons. I think they're both up there with some of the best. And then we bring them over here to try to just defend this generator again. Now, we know the boat generator does have a lot as well, but at least we were able to hold back the gens as much as we can with at least 2 stacks of pain res, which is really good. And we also have Deadlock finally activating, which is showing us the next gen that has the most amount of progress. So that's really good for us as well. With that being said, I think we're doing quite well. Now, Unrelenting did get value at least once, but it's also a passive, just freebie value, I call it. Because of the fact that you can, say, get a chain on somebody who's already getting deep wound, and instead of breaking the chain, what you can just honestly do is just swing, break the chain off yourself, and then just quickly get into the action. Now, unfortunately, because the survivor was struggling, we did end up having to just hit them with the endurance, but because of the angle that they flew into, we are able to get that. But once again, second chance perks will always come into play. so background player does inevitably give them the save. Now, unfortunately, we do end up losing track of our survivor a little bit because obviously I was trying to move around while blind to try to kind of get an idea of where to go because we wanted to go for them, but unfortunately we end up losing another gen in the process as well just due to gen speed being insane. Now, because there's nothing really to defend here, we don't really have to go for Steve at all, actually, which is a bit of a misplay on my part because I should have stayed focused, I guess, in that sense. Now, unfortunately, background player is really not the easiest thing to counter, but thankfully, good aim is. So we're able to at least get the Meg hit, and then if we can at least get another pain res active, that'll be quite useful. Now, because Meg already saw me climbing the hill here, we know they're going to rotate toward the left, so that's exactly where we go. And then what we try to do here is at least try to get them to drop the pallet, which they do. And then we can just go ahead and get our knockdown because it is a Meg, and we don't expect a lot from them. So we try to at least hopefully get to a pain res hook if possible. And we're actually getting quite ambitious by going all the way across the map, but it is the best idea because we do apply a lot of pressure by going back to where the most survivors are and using that to our advantage here. Now we get another pain res stack active. We blow up the gen, which we find out is the one right next to us, so it was actually a really smart play on my part because we were able to now apply more pressure and we can go after the person that is quite literally death hook. Now the problem is due to the structure of the swamp, we were not really able to get a swing, but we do want to push them toward the back of the map away from the save, which realistically I should have tried to corral them into the save so we could defend it a lot better, so that's a misplay on my part. I should have done that a lot better by pushing them toward the save. Now we are going to get a quick shot on Steve. It doesn't really matter who we end up hitting as long as we get some injuries and some deep wound. Pretty much a solid play for me. But ideally we focus on the Meg because we know she's one of the biggest weaklings. And if we can get that weakling out of the game, that'll completely leverage the game to our side. Now, once again, we're still on swamp. So as you're going to see coming up on this side of the screen there's a really strong log loop that we just can't really avoid having to deal with. And because there's a gen there, it does make it quite difficult to work around. Now, we're at least trying to get them to panic and start like pushing them into areas that they don't really want to be in. But now we notice that there's actually somebody injured over here, so that's what we want to go for. It seems like they're kind of panicking here. We do try to see if we can get the shot in, but of course another gen already flies. We're doing our best with as much slowdown as we can, but gen speeds will still prevail. Now we're going to face the rock here, so in case they try to get the blind, they won't be able to do it. We're going to put them on the first hook we see, because we just need another hook stayed out, just so we can start getting more people closer to death as soon as possible. Now, one thing I will mention, and that if you do end up using Eerie Coin, now here's a nice thing I like doing. I like to just kind of zone them away from the pallet, because I didn't want him to vault that the pallet. I wanted to make sure I pushed him away to break it. And then because he was doing that, he ends up zoning himself right here, as you can see. I don't know why he's walking. It's not really going to change the outcome. Unfortunately, that rock kind of blocked it, and then he just kind of flicks over to the side. So there's really not much we could have done there, unfortunately, because of that rock just kind of blocking our path. But if I had anticipated he would move that way, I probably could have gotten the hit there. So that was another mistake on my part. But that's over time. You get better with these things. Now the idea would be to find either the Meg or that survivor wearing the pink. I did not really anticipate that they would just start flying in that random direction. A lot of Megs can move in a weird way. She does panic and fly off a little bit there, even though my aim was already off as it was. Because we do kind of need the down, and we're running out of gens pretty quickly. We know that they're going to fly that way, but unfortunately, just her pathing is just really goofy, so it kind of throws me off a little bit there in the game. But thankfully, they make a bad vault, which is exactly what we need. We know Steve is just lurking because they always want to get background player active because they already don't have enough second chances. They need even more, so it makes sense. That being said, we just bring them on over to the hook here. We just get them out of the game as soon as possible. We're down to about 3 survivors, and we notice that that's the gen with the most amount of progress. So once again, Deadlock giving us massive value, which unfortunately is a little bit anti-synergy with Pain Res, because if you do use Pain Res and Deadlock is active, it does end up not always hitting that gen, because Deadlock blocks the most progress, and then Pain Res is supposed to damage it, but it can't damage it if it's blocked. Once again, we're dealing with this really bad area, but thankfully the Yui did fly off, but my You know, I actually just kind of flicked the stick a little too hard there, but that's all right because we have reload add-ons. And we just continue to go here. Now, I was trying to kind of fake it, go around, and then maybe try to get like get a good shot here, which I end up doing, which is really good for me. And we actually get the nice hit, which does give us a little bit of distance. Now, I would think that having Save the Best for last would also be quite useful on a character like this, because making the swing faster after a shot would be quite useful. Now, of course, they're going to camp the pallet. We already knew that would happen because they always end up doing that. Because, you know, instead of actually looping, you know, they need to just do the lowest common denominator. Now, the problem is with this area, we can get the shot, potentially, but they're already cutting the corners super tight, and then they're way too fast to be able to actually get the shot there. So we just attempt to go for a different survivor for just a second. Kind of zone them out there, get the shot, get the hit, and then we can just at least have the other one waste time mending. And then at least have 2 people injured so that no matter who we go for, they'll just be one shot. Now, we notice that he's just kind of running off into an area we don't really care about. You know what I'm saying? Classic Steve plays. So we just completely ignore him and just go after somebody else. And we also noticed that the gen in the boat wasn't really progressed. So I had assumed, okay, let's just go over to this gen again, and we can at least try to get another shot. We tried to fake into the vault, but the prompt just kind of disappeared before it. So it kind of worked as a mind game in a way, but I was more attempting to just vault, which would be the idea. And then because I had done that, then they decided to kind of fly away towards Shaq, which we're just trying to zone him away. Steve is trying to take the body block forward, I assume, so we'll just knock him down to get him out of the way, which is absolutely what I expected out of a Steve. And then we can go ahead and we know they're going to camp the pallet. They always do. It's a survivor, you know what I'm saying, that doesn't have any confidence in their abilities. So they are automatically going to go for camp the pallet wait. So now we get the shot off, which is wonderful for me. And that should mean that we get him out of the game, I would assume, right? So we get him on, we can go ahead and pick him up. We know that should probably be on death. Now the problem is, right, I had assumed that I didn't have a lot of time, especially with the scratch marks. By the time I even get to that hook, they're going to pick up Steve, and that's not what we need right now. And I just had to make the right play, which realistically the smarter play would have been to hook Steve because he's the only one that doesn't have the pain res, just so we can create a little bit of slowdown. But I also thought that getting the kill would actually be much more effective. Because we just need to get one out of the game to completely eliminate the opportunity of pressure. Now, the idea here is that we're going to leave them on the ground so that we can try to find the Yui, but I figure I do need an extra hook because of another play that I've mentioned before, which is I'm trying to buy time for the future. So if we can get them on the hook now and they end up getting saved, at least if I can down that person again, put them on the hook, that'll give the survivor the timer to deal with. But by putting them on the hook would also allow me to get more points, allow me to get a second hook save in the future, buy more time. And then because we're going to make our way back over to this generator, we notice that, of course, it's going to be 99, because, of course, it is. Because, you know, survivors will continue to go to the areas with the least amount of action. So I noticed it got unhooked. I had assumed maybe it was Deliverance because they do have the broken status. So I had assumed maybe it would be Deliverance. But as I gotten closer, we noticed that they're fully healed. So they had the that Steve perk active that they are automatically healed, which was just, I would say, honestly irritating. But it, you know, another second chance for the books. So I had figured, okay, well, we're just gonna have to go over here because this is the gen with the most amount of progress. So we're gonna have to at least focus on getting at least one kill, which would probably be the Yui, because I'm pretty sure they have gotten hooked at least once or twice. And we just try to zone them here to see if they just kind of cross in, which they didn't actually go for that, which is a little bit strange. But because I did miss a shot, it does buy them extra distance, unfortunately, allowing the Steve to fly to the gen in the meantime. Now I'm just trying to get them afraid here, and just to buy enough time to actually get the M1, which is really good for me. And that's honestly what we want, you know what I'm saying? That's what we want. Now, I had assumed that I might have gotten the shot there. We already knew the gen was going to get done, because no matter if I kick it or not, they can still just get it done regardless. But we're honestly focused on trying to at least get a second, you know, state here or something like that on either one of them. We know Steve is going to have background players, so we know we want to ignore him to allow him to try to at least go for a save and give us time. Now, just because it's the boat, you know what I mean, it does make it quite difficult to get an easy shot in, but we're at least trying to aim in to let them make mistakes. Of course, the door is already open. The doors open extremely quickly, so it really doesn't take a while for that to happen. He misses the blind as per usual. So we can just go ahead and put them on the hook, and then we just kind of, just go with it. You know, he's kind of running around, so I would have assumed he would be behind me, which of course he was. And I'm assuming he wouldn't want to trade. Now here is where we try to at least go see what they do, see if they get stuck on anything. The closer we get, and then we end up getting the shot, allowing us to secure our 4K, which was extremely satisfying, especially when background player just giving everybody second chances allows me to their overconfidence allows me to just get my 4K for you guys to see. But that being said, what a very satisfying match. And we go ahead and hit them on the hook and make sure they know that they're the losers of the lobby now. So they can they got finessed. No matter how hard they rush the gens, we still come out on top. That being said, hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll take a quick look at the builds real quick, and then we'll just go ahead and end the video for you guys. But anyway, if you guys are curious, you can go ahead and see that. And yeah, I'm really excited to see the Iron Maiden collab come through. You know, hopefully I'll be able to get some games for you guys. The Deathslinger skin, I think it looks fantastic. And those are the builds. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys have learned something, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Please make sure to subscribe and do all the YouTube things for me, please.